Climate lockdown. The Houthis in Yemen locked down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the Red Sea crossing, adding to global energy shock, as Trump signs executive order preparing for shortages. So the IMF is saying that unless inventories are replenished, the world will start from a weaker position when the next shock comes, whatever that's supposed to mean. What's the next shock? I mean, right now, the world is about as energy shocked as it's going to get, I think. But of course, you add the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and all the fuel refining capacities that are being destroyed there in that war. You're just adding more to that. And we'll get into all that with this article here from the Wine Press. If you're not subscribed to them, I recommend that you do so. Here we go. As the war in Iran continues to escalate with no end in sight, the global energy situation has worsened after the Houthis in Yemen formally announced that they will be seizing control of the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, located in the Red Sea, another critical trade and shipping route, which close to 10% of international petroleum and energy resources are shipped. Saudi Arabia exports roughly 4.5 million barrels of crude per day through the strait. Well, not anymore, apparently. And remember, all of this, as we talked about before, is by design. They want the world to go into this energy shock. They need the entire thing to be reset. So these wars, this war in particular, is going to continue to escalate until weapons of mass destruction are used, and it's just a matter of when. So now the Houthis in Yemen have announced a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia, effectively banning Saudi maritime traffic through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Saudi exports 4.5 million barrels of crude per day through that key waterway. So oilprice.com reported yesterday that Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis declared an immediate naval blockade on Saudi Arabia on Monday. Reuters reported, bringing the U.S.-Iran war officially to the southern entrance of the Red Sea and threatening an export route used by Riyadh to bypass disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. Now there'll be no more of that. The group said that the maritime embargo was retaliation for what it described as a Saudi siege of Yemen. They have been fighting here recently. Saudi Arabia has not responded to the announcement as of the time of this writing. So we're going to scroll down here, guys. This is a lengthy article. I highly recommend that you go back and read it. But for trying to keep these videos shorter, I'm just going to kind of skim through it and give you the highlights. So here we go again. Houthis just declared the Red Sea closed for Saudi oil. This latest closure, which has received little attention in American and Western media, will only add further strain on global energy markets. The Wine Press has documented several times since the war began that the Trump White House has been quietly draining the nation's strategic oil reserve and has been exporting oil and diesel at record levels to keep prices down. Other countries have acted similarly. And we talked about that a few weeks ago. So when Trump signed the phony MOU last month, he admitted that if the U.S. did not cease operations, then the country would have completely drained its reserves, and the world would face a global depression. By restarting and intensifying operations in Iran and the Middle East, now coupled with the Houthis seizing greater control of the Red Sea, the disparities are only going to get worse. And so, let's just play this video real quick.
Alternative would be a worldwide depression. The stupid people want to have a worldwide depression, and they're stupid people. So you can only go so far. You drive somebody into the ground and a lot of bad things happen. Number one, the Strait would never open because they don't like floating billion-dollar ships up and down a strait when there are rockets flying over them and mines all over the place. So,
and with those words,
right, he's exactly right. And now they haven't. That's what's going on right now. Of course, this is after they made that signed that memorandum of understanding, and of course, is out the window at this point. So it looks like we're going to have some bedlam too that he went on to talk about here when the oil starts running out. So the new closure of the key oil checkpoint comes as the world has exhausted the buffers on which it relied in the second quarter. Drained strategic and commercial inventories in many key oil-consuming economies, including the United States, are setting the stage for further oil price rallies during the busiest oil demand season. So like I said, I'm going to kind of skip through here a little bit. So as these supply lines continue to become compromised and locked down, the Trump administration apparently recognizes this, is now taking further action in preparation for shortages. On July 20th, Trump signed an executive order securing America's defense supply chains and ensuring domestic acquisition of critical materials. Yeah, because they got to keep the war machine going. That's really all they care about. This executive order is designed to secure America's defense supply chains for the cutting-edge equipment that allows the U.S. to dominate the modern battlefield. Not so much, particularly the critical materials and components necessary to manufacture that equipment. Yeah, because they need all those critical materials for manufacturing all their smart weapons that they've basically run out of. They'll run out for you very shortly. So now the fact sheet adds that order limits circumstances in which the Secretary of Defense should issue waivers for critical materials and covered nations. I'm not going to cover all that. You guys can read that for yourselves. So while the executive order is framed as securing critical materials needed by the Pentagon and the Department of War, it also represents a recognition by the administration that shortages are likely to persist. Earlier this month, Trump signed an executive order and declared a national emergency to secure an adequate supply of phosphate fertilizer, something else that's been greatly affected since the war in Iran began. A Farm Bureau report released in April found that 70% of farmers couldn't afford or obtain the necessary fertilizer needed for this season. And I confirmed that with a farming friend of mine back in North Dakota who's got a good-sized operation. Trump and this war have cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if he weren't as big as he were and had been stockpiling ahead of time, he wouldn't make it this year. Moreover, in June, Trump signed another executive order prioritizing access to so-called regenerative agriculture. It was revealed by the USDA that the order was really about expanding crop production to be used in biofuels and ethanol. So this war, just like the Russia-Ukraine war that has no end in sight, a war that Trump pretended he was going to end in 24 hours, will continue to drag on and widen, as we're now seeing with the Houthis in Yemen. Something you may recall I had warned was a real possibility. I agree. I also thought that was a possibility because it's been a while now that Iran has told everyone publicly that the Houthis in Yemen would join the war with them if it were to start again, which it has. And so, like the author says here, you probably seldom heard this reported in American media, if at all. This is because the media has been given the directive to not upset the markets and cause the masses to panic, thus temporarily keeping oil prices down for now. But once the markets and consumers catch on, prices will rise and Trump will have to keep making up more garbage to suppress the markets until he absolutely can't do so anymore. And we're getting to that point as the strategic reserve is getting incredibly low. Now, he admitted, a month ago that we had like 4 weeks left if the war didn't stop, 4 weeks of oil left or fuel, what have you. And so, it's very well known that we're reaching our limits and we're reaching them very soon. And it's all coming to a head now, like I talked about the other day with this article I posted from Brian Mitchell on Facebook. It all goes boom from here on out. Every off-ramp is gone now and burned up into the ashes. It will continue to escalate to the worst and drag in more nations into this disaster in the Middle East, Turkey and Egypt, many others. This conflict is and will be the catalyst and excuse needed to bring in the new global system and global order. This is a visible and pre-planned demolition. I couldn't agree more. And we've been on life support since the 2008 crash, waiting for the moment to arrive. Well, that moment's here. It's all here. And like the author says here, this is all by design. There are simply too many coincidences. We said back in March that this war marks the implementation of climate lockdowns, identical to what the world experienced in 2020, with massive supply chain shutdowns, shortages, stay-at-home orders, mass layoffs, etc. And we're seeing all that beginning right now. We're seeing supply chain shutdowns with the oil anyway and fuel. And soon we're going to see stay-at-home orders, work-from-home orders because of the fuel situation. There's going to be mass layoffs like never before because of the fuel situation. And remember, Fed President James Bullard explicitly said in March 2020 that that was a planned, organized, partial shutdown of the economy. Exactly. And they're doing it again. It's repeating. They're just not calling it that. It's the Great Reset. Then the disruptions and energy crisis created by the Russia-Ukraine war. And now that we have the Iran war that's quickly expanding and really distorting global markets. But the war is not what it seems. Most people won't see or comprehend what's really happening, but it's the Great Reset, and those climate goals are coming to fruition yet again. And so there we go. We are truly in Mark 13:7, Matthew 24:7. Same thing. Wars, rumors of wars. It's all here. Wow. And that would be it. Well, I guess that's not it for this episode. I do have something else pulled up here to go along with this. We have a major escalation plan. Attack upon Israel is expected in reprisal. And I've seen this on Telegram too. In Israel, they're saying that Trump is going to significantly increase the intensity of the attacks, starting tonight. And targeting sites of infrastructure and prominent Iranian figures will lead to Iran opening fire on Israel, which I also saw on Telegram today. That's what Iran said they were going to do. Netanyahu held a security meeting that lasted 6 hours today. And as of 4 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, 6 air refueling tankers took off out of Israel heading east toward the Persian Gulf. So there you go. There's also been B-1 bombers reported in the air this morning from the UK heading towards the Middle East. So, like I said, it's all coming to a head now. And there's no off-ramps anymore. So this will continue. I'm sure we'll start to see climate lockdowns and so on as this global energy shock gets worse. And there we go. But we have no fear, guys. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Keep your focus on Jesus Christ. Understand that he's returning very soon. We're at the end of this great tribulation, not at the beginning. This has nothing to do with pre-trib. This has to do with the return of Jesus Christ and the resurrection of the dead first, and then we who are still alive will be caught up with them in the air to meet the Lord in the air and to forevermore be with the Lord. Praise the Lord Jesus. Please come soon. Oh boy. But make sure that you have him as your Lord and Savior, because when he returns, it's too late. It's too late then. To seek him now, he can still be found before the day of the Lord comes to pass, because it's coming soon too. Wow. Unreal. So much to cover. And yet so little time to cover it, right? The major escalation is coming, and let's not forget, Israel says at this point it has no interest in directly joining the United States in the war with Iran and will observe from the sidelines. That's the latest from Israel. So they're not going to join in, huh? Well, we'll see. After Iran starts striking them in retaliation for what the U.S. is about to do, then we'll see. But that'll be it for now. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do, in case you're not watching the show from here. I put a lot of things here that we just can't speak about anywhere else. I have relocated the Spiritual Warfare ebook here to the website. It's now under this tab right here. Let's click on that. And you can download it right here from the website in PDF format. I had to post it here because over on Smashwords, they were going to start charging me a monthly fee to host my book because I wasn't generating any commissions because I give the book away for free. So anyway, it's now here on the website, and the link in the at the bottom of every article will bring you right here. Then, of course, we have subscribe and contact me tab here. You can click on that, and all the ways to find me or to contact me are right here. It's Don't Speak News at Proton Mail. Type in your email into this box, click on subscribe, and then you'll be notified every time a new post comes up. And then don't forget, we are now affiliated with Dr. Water Hydrogen Water Products. A lot of water bottles and different things that you can look at on their website. My link is right here. And when you purchase their products through my link, I'll earn a small commission, which will help support this website and our household. It doesn't raise your price whatsoever at all. The price remains the same. So please click the link below. Umbrellas, all the different products on their site. They've got these tumblers on sale, which I actually own one of these, and I really, truly like it. And they're on sale right now for $119 each, or get 2 for $159 on this month's special. And then, for Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, all the places to find us, click on this tab. And these are all the different links and places to find us around the interwebs. And we've been taken down just from everywhere else, so we might as well just stick with what we got. And then don't forget about this one, Don't Speak Health News on Substack. I just put up a new post today. That's all about changing my diet schedule to heal my guts and hydrogen water 8-week update. So I'm on week 8 now. And so you can see the update on what it's done for me over here on Substack. I also put it on don'tspeaknews.com today, just to let you guys know about this, because the changes over the last 8 weeks have been substantial. And I think you should know about it in case it can help you or someone else that you know. And that'll be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.